Hello and welcome to Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. In this video we're going to do the second Rivals of Ixalan Planeswalker deck, which is Vraska, Scheming Gorgon, which is a black and white deck. Let's take a look at the deck list. So 27 creatures, 5 instants, 3 sorceries, 24 land, and of course a single Planeswalker. Let's take a look at her now. So Vraska, Scheming Gorgon, so 4 and double black for a 5 loyalty Planeswalker, which is kind of the expected average we're getting in these decks. Her +2 is to give your creatures +1/+0/10, which is kind of weak, honestly. That's a very small effect. At least it's like a +2, I suppose. That's something. But yeah, kind of a little disappointing, I think, especially compared to Angrath's we looked at last time, where he did a board wide. Well, actually, no, it was a one-sided, 1 damage ping. This is okay. Obviously, depending how wide you're going, this actually might do more damage because if you've got a load of creatures, which you do, you've got 27 in the deck. Yeah, giving all them all +1/+0 could actually obviously do more damage in the long run. She got -3 to destroy type creature. Yep, just very straightforward and simple. Yep. And then her ultimate, -10 until end of turn, creatures you control gain Death Touch, and whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, that player loses the game, which is actually pretty exciting. Because it's been, in these pre-constructed decks we don't usually get, there's a few effects we don't see a lot, which is usually stuff to do with extra turns, very rarely get those, and alternate win conditions. So, let's see, I mean, the last deck I think we had an alternate win condition was back in Battle for Zendikar or Oath the Gatewatch, which one of the two, which had it was the life game which had Felidar Sovereign in it, which is you have 40 more life at the start of your upkeep if you win the game. So this is definitely deserves some sort of attention, or some kind of, it stands out a bit just because it has technically a alternate win condition of just making your opponent instantly lose if you pop that ultimate and one of your creatures gets through and manages to inflict damage. That's so that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, apart from that -10, I don't think there's not really she's not doing much, is she, Vraska? Nothing too interesting. So you've got a board wide pump, destroy creature is nice, but it's kind of expensive, and and then the big -10, which takes forever to reach anyway. But yeah, it's all right, isn't it? Right, and then her signature cards. So we've got 2 Vraska Scorn, 2 in double black to make an opponent lose 4 life, and then you search your library or graveyard for Vraska, reveal it, and put it into your hand. If you search your library, shuffle. Yeah, this is okay. This is kind of more in line. Again, looking back on Angrath's one, which was destroy a creature and do 3 damage to an opponent and still search. Yeah, this one doesn't feel as good. This feels more in line with most of the other ones we looked at, where it's quite a minor effect, and then you get the search tacked onto it. Because 4 mana, sorcery speed to make an opponent lose 4 life. It's not terrible. And obviously attacking the search onto that as well. But there's definitely, we've definitely seen better. Like Gideon's as well, which is an anthem effect, so permanently had an effect. But yeah, this is okay. 3 Vraska's Conquistador, so 1 in the black for a 2/1. Whenever it attacks or blocks, if you control a Vraska Planeswalker, target opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Yep, I mean, it's just another underwhelming Planeswalker buddy card. Yeah, just relying on 1 card in the deck to get this kind of minor effect. I hate these. I just hate them whenever they show up in the deck. I think they're an absolute waste of deck space, honestly. And then 4 Vampire Champions, 3 in a black, just for a 3/3 with Death Touch, which is fine. Obviously, I'd prefer it to probably be like a 2/4, because obviously it's much better, I think, when a creature with Death Touch has a higher toughness, because it doesn't need the high power. But if people are reluctant to block it, then at least it gets through and does more damage. It's fine. But having 4 of them at 4 actually makes the mana curve, I think, of this deck actually quite greedy. But I think the rest of the deck is fairly cheap-ish. It does curve nicely, I think. So the rest of the deck is Vampires, which is, makes sense. We're in black-white and we're in original Ixalan, so yeah, it's going to be Vampires. So one of the rares, we've got the 2 rares here, haven't we? Yeah. So one of the rares is Champion of Dusk. So 3 in double black for a 4/4. When it ends the battlefield, you draw X cards and you lose X life, where X is the number of vampires you control. Yep, this effect is absolutely fine. At the very minimum, it draws you 1 card because it counts itself, obviously. Yeah, this is fine. Just late game, or late game, mid game, at 5 mana when you hit it, just to get a bit more gas. I'd say drawing 3 cards off this would be pretty good. Yeah, Obviously, you don't want to draw too many cards and lose a bunch of life, but black white, you've always got ways of gaining life in the deck, so that's okay. The other is Paladin of Atonement, so 1 white for a 1/1. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you lost life last turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Paladin of Atonement, and when you dies, you gain life equal to its toughness. Yep, this is fine. As as we've seen with Champion Dusk, you've got a few effects in the deck that make you lose life. I mean, you obviously just let small attackers through to lose life to give the counter, and then when it dies, you get the life back. Yeah, it's fine. I think not as good as Champion Dusk. I think Champion Dusk is a lot flashier, but Paladin Atonement is fine. And then it's a real shame there's only got one of these. Would have been obviously nice to have more than one. Legion Lieutenant, so 1 white, 1 black, just for a 2/2, gives you other vampires +1/+1. Yeah, just very straightforward Lord effect. Obviously okay and fine, and yeah. Right, then we have a single Bishop of the Bloodstained, so 3 and double black for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life for every vampire you control. Yeah, that's it's pretty much every creature in the deck. apart from one, we'll see. Pretty much every creature in the deck is a vampire. So yeah, this is going to come in and say at the very minimum, it's 1 life because it counts itself. Ideally, you want to be doing like 3, 4, even more potentially off this. So yeah, like this. I like this. It's a shame there's only kind of the one of them. A single Deathless Ancient, 4 and double black for a 4/4 with flying. So nice big evasive creature, and you can tap 3 untapped vampires you control to return Deathless Agent from your graveyard to your hands. This is really nice. They can keep recurring as long as you've got vampires around to keep bringing him back. Yeah, so that's really nice. I actually really like that. We've got a Vicious Conquistador, 1 black mana for a 1/2. Whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life. Yep, that's fine. Really like this. Kind of reminds me of Pulse Tracker from original Zendikar, which was like whenever it becomes tapped or attack, each opponent loses 1 life. I think it's actually better than Pulse Tracker because it's a 1/2, whereas I think Pulse Tracker used to be a 1/1. So yeah, just more power creep. But yeah, obviously this is fine. It's really nice that it's just this effect is on a 1-drop. Yeah. And then we've got 2 Sky March Bloodletter, so 2 and a black for a 2/2 with flying. And when it enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Oh, and the subject power creep, here we are, strictly better Black Windrake, which, black very rarely gets a really efficient flyer with no drawback. But yeah, this is really nice, I think. 3 mana for a 2/2 with evasion and just a little bit of life drain, so it still does something the turn you play it. You don't have to necessarily wait to attack with it. So yeah, I like this 2 of them. And then we've got 2 Skyblade Legion, just 1 white for a 1/3 of flying. So yep, this is okay, obviously. And single Exultant Sky Marcher, 1 and double white for a 2/3 flying, also obviously completely fine and boring, but serviceable. It's an evasive creature, it's fine. Then we've got 2 Famished Paladins, 1 and a white for a 3/3, does untap during your untap step. Whenever you gain life, it untaps. This is okay. Like I know I just said like, oh, like we're playing black white, we've got some ways of gaining life. Not a huge number of ways of gaining life in the deck. So yeah, this would you'd have to sort of like play around this, bit of a skill testing card, this. And I think by the time you're like be able to reliably gain life to like make him untap, then I don't know then if the 3/3 for only 2 mana, like the efficient body, is then really worth it. Because you have to put a lot of work in to make it untap. I don't know. But it's fine. And then 2 Inspiring Cleric, 2 and a white for a 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. I mean, there's a really nice bit of life gain actually there. For 3 mana to get a 3/2 body and 4 life is pretty good. The old player in me sees this and like just sees Venerable Monk crying in a corner somewhere. But yeah, this is obviously really fine. Really nice sort of anti aggro card. And then a single Dusk Legion Zealot, 1 and a black for a 1/1. When it ends the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Very standard black effect there. But yeah, drawing the card is obviously great. Makes you lose some life, which is good for the Paladin of Atonement. Yeah, it's perfect good. I really wish there'd been more than one. Because this would be a nice early game play, I think. And then 2 Queensbay Soldier, which is very disappointing because there's just 1 and a black for a 2/2, which is definitely at the point in the game where black can have better than this, but it is what it is. And then, like in the pirate deck, we got bloody Gilded Sentinel in here for absolutely no reason, just 4 mana for a 3/3, and it's Golem, so it has no interaction with any of your effects that care about vampires, and it just makes me so angry that it's in here. There's no reason for it to be in here. There were definitely enough vampires to fill this slot, so yeah, really makes me angry. That not angry is too strong a word, but like just confused. Like, oh yeah, we'll just throw Gilded Sentinel in here. And I guess you could say, I don't know, for an introductory product. It's like, oh, we got to show new players about artifact creatures. Like, why? I think a new player would just be more interested in having a vampire that synergizes with the other vampires in the deck. So yeah, really weird. Easy first cut here, I think. Right, and then non-creature spells. So we've got a single Bright Reprisal, 4 and a white, destroy attacking creature, draw a card. Obviously super expensive to tack on the draw a card, I suppose, because this is what, Kill Shot, Neck Snap, something like that. But just for the extra 2 for drawing a card. Yeah, it's super expensive, so I'm not super keen on it, but like, it's fine. It's still removal, isn't it? And then we've got 2 Moment of Triumph and 2 Moment of Craving. I had no idea that these cards were like linked until obviously I started doing the graphics. But yeah, I really like when cards like, you have mirrored pairs like this, like mirrored artworks. Always like it. So Moment of Triumph is 1 white mana to give a creature +2/+2 turn. You gain 2 life, which is a perfectly good little pump spell and tack on some life gain. And then Moment of Craving, 1 to black to give a creature -2/-2 turn, and you gain 2 life. So yeah, that's actually quite a nice little kill spell. And again, tacking on some life on there. So yeah, these are both okay. Really like there's 2 of each of those. And then a single recover, 2 and a black. It's basically raise dead with draw a card. It's it's okay. It's okay. Again, just a shame there's only 1 of them, but it is what it is. And then 4 Forsaken Sanctuaries, which is just a white-black tap land, yeah, and then 11 swamps and 9 plains. So yeah, I mean, it's alright, isn't it? It's like, it's definitely of all the vampire decks we've looked at on the channel, I don't think this one is really jumping out at me. This is definitely no Vampire's Hunger or whatever it was. The one back from Zendikar with Vampire Nighthawk and Malakir Bloodwitch. It's definitely a weak showing from vampires who are, I say on the videos of the decks I've looked at on the channel have definitely been strong contenders for really good tribal effects. So there's definitely a few cards I think that could have found their way in here. Legion Conquistador I thought would actually be quite fun. So it's 2 and a white for a 2/2, and it has this kind of like effect we usually see on white creatures. It crops up occasionally where like you play one and then you search up like the rest of the play set of them. So it's essentially like a draw 3 essentially. But yeah, I think that could have been fun having 4 of those. Actually, that would have been nice as the as instead of the Vampire Champion, have this as like the common signature card, I suppose. That would have been, I think, kind of fun. Sanguine Glorifier could have fit in here, I think as well. 3 and a white for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on another vampire you control. Yep, I feel like it's exactly what the deck wants, that kind of effect. Voracious Vampire, 2 and a black for a 2/2 with Menace. So, again, nice evasive creature, which ties in, if you do ever manage to pop off Vraska's ultimate, or even just her +2, I think would, obviously goes real with that. But when it enters the battlefield, it gives another vampire +1/+1 and Menace until turn 10. So yeah, again, still does something the turn you play it. So yeah, obviously any of these would have been better than the Gilded Sentinel, definitely. And then maybe as an alternate rare, because I've completely forgotten what that second rare was called. Not the Vampire Champion, the Paladin of Atonement. Yeah. The fact that I completely forgot about it shows that it didn't really stick in my mind too much. Sanctum Seeker, I think, just instead of that, 2 and double black for a 3/4. Whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. That's obviously that's a much stronger effect, much more of a wow factor, I think, for a introductory product like this. So I think definitely that instead of the oh god, was it Paladin of Atonement? That's it. I keep forgetting what it's called because it just occupies no space in my brain at all. Anointed Decon was a possible here as well. 4 and a black for a 3/3 at the beginning of combat in your turn. You give a vampire a free +2/+0 to then turn. That's okay as well. And also Call to the Feast. 2 cards, a white and a black sorcery to make 3 lifelink vampire creature tokens. That could have been okay as well. Definitely could have found some space for that, I think. So overall, like, little disappointing actually, I think, in the card selection here. There's a lot of one-offs, so not super high on the consistency, I suppose. But as I say, it's definitely feels like one of the weaker vampire decks we've looked at in this whole series. So and Vraska herself, I don't think is like that interesting. Like I say, apart from the ultimate, which deserves some sort of like mention just because it's an alternate win condition, which you don't see that often. Definitely prefer the Angrath deck to this one, I think. Well, that's it. That's all the Rivals of Ixalan decks. Yeah, if you have any thoughts or stories or comments or opinions about this deck or any of the cards in it, like stick a comment below, I'll give those a look. But we'll be moving on next time. This is because Rivals of Ixalan is the last block, or Ixalan is the last proper block. So now we're going into just like single sets, so we're spending even less time with certain card pools. So yeah, next video is going to be starting on the Dominaria ones. So yeah, and we'll have 2 of those and then be moving straight on. So yeah, we're going to be really whistling through cards and not having a lot of time spending with them, which is a shame, I think, but it is what it is. So yeah, we'll see you next time for the Dominaria Planeswalker decks. So until then, thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day.